15 years ago, I found a little girl asleep on my porch with a note pinned to her jacket. It's funny how an ordinary Saturday can break your life clean in half. One moment you're arguing with the coffee maker, the next you're staring at a sleeping child on your porch with a note that changes everything. Back then I was 68, widowed, and proud of my solitude. I live in a little Missouri town where people still wave to the mailman and gossip travels faster than Amazon. My husband used to call me stubborn as a nail in an old porch. He wasn't wrong. I'd spent 40 years keeping this house upright, painting it twice, and telling my HOA where they could shove their color compliance letters. So picture this: dawn light, coffee in hand, the dog snoring by the heater. I open the door to grab the paper and nearly trip over something pink and lumpy on the steps. I mutter, "If that's another stray cat, I swear." Then it moves. A kid. 6, maybe 7. Tiny coat, wrong-footed sneakers, a suitcase so small it looks like a toy. She's curled up like she's been there a while, cheeks red with cold. Pinned to her jacket is a piece of lined paper. "I can't do this anymore. Please take care of her." My first thought was that this had to be a prank. My second thought was, hell of a prank. Then the little girl blinked at me, big brown eyes, serious as taxes, and whispered, "Hi." That hi went straight through me. "Hi yourself," I said. "You cold?" She nodded. So, because my brain was running on caffeine and shock, I did the only sensible thing, brought her inside, made cocoa, and popped a waffle in the toaster. The kid said her name was Addie. That hit me like a slap because my daughter's name is Addie too, or was. I hadn't seen my Addie in 3 years. She was always one for storms and exits, brilliant when she wanted to be, a disaster when she didn't. She'd left town chasing a man, a business, a dream of something. I lost track after her last Thanksgiving visit when she borrowed gas money and skipped dessert. So when this tiny stranger told me her name, my stomach turned to gravel. I tried calling my daughter. Disconnected. Tried the email address I still had saved. Bounce back. Tried Facebook. Blocked. Typical. Meanwhile, the girl sat there, hands around her mug like it was life support. "Where's your mom, sweetheart?" I asked. "She went to work," she whispered. That was all she'd say. I called the police. What else was I supposed to do? They sent a young cop who looked 12 and a CPS worker named Linda who looked like she hadn't slept since the Clinton administration. They examined the note, the suitcase, clothes, a toothbrush, one rabbit missing an eye, and asked if I knew the child. I said, "Not yet." Linda crouched down. "Sweetheart, do you know your grandma's name?" The little one looked at me, then back at her. "Mimi," she said. I almost corrected her, then stopped. Mimi it was. When they asked if I could keep her for a few days, I said what any rational, tired woman would say, sure, why not? I was just planning to watch reruns and talk to my dog. The first night she wouldn't sleep. Sat upright on the couch holding that suitcase like a shield. I told her, "You can open it, you know. I'm not stealing your socks." She shook her head. "Mommy will need them." That was the first time I cried. Quietly in the pantry, because I wasn't going to scare her. Day 2, I made pancakes. She ate 3 bites. Day 3, she followed me around the house like a polite little ghost. By the end of the week she'd said maybe 20 words, none of them grandma. I told myself it was temporary. Then the DNA test came back. She was my granddaughter. My daughter had apparently listed me as emergency contact when registering her in kindergarten. So when CPS pulled old records, my address popped up. Addie had left her Addie on my porch. That's when the paperwork started. Temporary guardianship, they called it. I called it bureaucratic hell. Every office wanted something different: proof of income, home inspection, medical clearance. "Are you emotionally prepared to raise a child?" one clerk asked. I said, "I've survived menopause, the Reagan years, and dial-up internet. I'll manage." She didn't laugh. But I filled every form, signed every line. By the time we finished, I had legal custody and a permanent migraine. The first time I heard her laugh was 2 months later. We were baking cookies, and the mixer went rogue, splattering dough across half the kitchen. I yelped, she giggled, and for a second the whole room felt lighter. That sound, pure sunlight. I remember thinking, okay, Maybe we're going to be fine. You'd think after 40 years of working, paying taxes, and keeping a roof over my head, someone would trust me with a kid without asking for a background check on my dog. But no. CPS doesn't play. Linda, the social worker, came by every week for the first month. She'd perch on my floral sofa like it was booby-trapped and ask, "How are you adjusting?" I'd smile sweetly and say, "Oh, peachy. I only forgot how to parent for the last 30 years, but it's coming back like arthritis in the rain." She never laughed. Bureaucrats rarely do. I'd get letters in the mail that said things like home environment review scheduled, which translated to we're making sure you're not hoarding bodies under the floorboards. I kept the place spotless, mostly to prove a point. Addie helped quietly, carefully. She was still wary, but she'd started humming while she dusted. Little things, but they meant the world. One evening, I found her sitting cross-legged on the floor drawing. She'd drawn a house with a big porch, a dog, and 2 stick figures, a tall one with glasses, that's me, and a tiny one with long brown hair, her. Above it she wrote in shaky letters, "Me and Mimi." I cried in the bathroom so she wouldn't see. Addie had rules, self-made ones. Never leave her suitcase unattended. Never ask where Mommy was. Never let anyone else touch her rabbit, which I learned the hard way. That stuffed thing looked like it had been through a blender, but to her, it was sacred. She didn't talk about her mom, and I didn't ask. Some wounds need silence before words. Instead, we built little routines. Breakfast at 8, cartoons after school, cocoa before bed. The house felt alive again. No ghosts, no echo, just her soft footsteps and that damn rabbit staring from the couch. By spring, she started school again. I walked her in on the first day, clutching her tiny hand like it was made of glass. The teacher, a bubbly 20-something with enough optimism to power a solar farm, asked if I was Addie's mother. I told her, close enough. Addie squeezed my hand and smiled for the first time. Not a small twitch, not nervous. A real, dimpled, whole-face smile. If happiness had a sound, it was her little giggle when I tripped over the classroom rug. That night, I made spaghetti and forgot the meatballs, and she didn't even complain. She said, "It's good, Mimi." That Mimi did something to me. Like being knighted, but better. By the time she turned 7, the caseworker said they were closing the file. "The biological mother hasn't responded to contact attempts," Linda said. I shrugged. Color me shocked. She pursed her lips. "We'll check in occasionally, but Addie's safe here." "You're damn right she is." I meant it. We had birthdays, school projects, flu seasons. I relearned math through homework sheets and nearly set the kitchen on fire trying to build a papier-mâché volcano. Every so often, Addie would ask, "Do you think Mommy's okay?" And I'd say, "I hope so, sweetheart." That was the truth. I hoped she was alive. I also hoped she'd stay far enough away not to undo what we were building. Years went by in small miracles. I taught Addie to ride a bike in the driveway. She taught me how to work my new phone, Mimi, just tap it. I stopped flinching when the phone rang. She stopped sleeping with her suitcase on the bed. But she never threw it out. It stayed by the door like a piece of our history, ugly, dented, stubborn. Like me. One afternoon when she was 10, she came home with a school project about family trees. "Mimi," she said, "what should I put for Mom?" We made it through the preteen years mostly intact. She hit middle school, I hit 73, and the house somehow survived both of us. She was artistic, independent, and had a knack for sarcasm that could cut glass. Wonder where she got that from. Then came the teenage years, the emotional roller coaster with no seatbelts. Addie at 15 was equal parts angel and hurricane. She'd paint her nails black, slam her door, then come out crying because she thought she'd been too mean. I'd hand her cocoa and say, "Apology accepted. Now help me fix this remote again." She never once called me grandma. Always Mimi. Always ours. And then, 10 years after that morning on the porch, there was another knock on the same door. I remember the sound before anything else. A slow, hesitant knock. The kind of knock people give when they're not sure they belong somewhere. It was late afternoon, the sun starting to dip behind the neighbor's maple tree. I was sitting at the kitchen table doing the crossword and wondering why four-letter word for trouble wasn't just Addie when I heard it. I thought maybe it was a delivery. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, the air left my lungs. There she was. My daughter. Addie, the first one. She looked hollow. Too thin, skin pale, hair pulled back like she was trying to look respectable but hadn't slept in a week. Her eyes darted from the welcome mat to my face, and for a second, I swear I saw the little girl she used to be, standing there asking for cookies. "Mom," she said. Her voice cracked. "You look the same." I snorted. "Then you need your eyes checked." She smiled weakly, then it vanished. "I'm clean now. Been sober 2 years. I want to see her." Her. My Addie's Addie. My grip tightened on the doorframe. "You don't get to walk in here like a ghost and ask for that." She nodded, eyes shiny. "I know. I needed to try." Something inside me warred between fury and pity. I wanted to slam the door. I wanted to drag her inside. I wanted to scream, "Where the hell were you when she cried for you every night?" Instead, I said, "You left a note." "I know." Her voice broke. "I thought she'd be better off with you." I couldn't. Couldn't what? Be a mother. She flinched like I'd hit her. I was sick. I didn't know how to fix it. I crossed my arms. "You could have called. Written. Sent a damn postcard." I was ashamed, she whispered. "Well," I said, "congratulations. It worked." Silence. Just the wind and her shaky breathing. Finally, she said, "Can I at least tell her I love her?" I looked her dead in the eye. "You can tell her when she wants to hear it." And I shut the door. That night, I sat on the porch with my coffee gone cold, trying to calm the shaking in my hands. The same porch. The same boards. I could almost see that little girl curled up again, suitcase by her side. I'd built a whole second life from that morning. And now the past wanted a do-over. Addie, the younger one, was 17 then, smart, fiery, fiercely protective of her own heart. I waited until breakfast to tell her. "Your mother came by yesterday," I said. Her spoon froze midair. "What did she want?" "To see you. She said she's sober." Addie let out a bitter laugh. "Good for her. She said she loves you." She said a lot of things before she left me. I didn't argue. "I told her she could talk to you when you're ready," I said carefully. "I'm not," she said, and that was that. Weeks passed. Then months. My daughter called twice, left voicemails full of apologies and prayers. I never played them for Addie. She'd made her choice, and I respected it. But one night, Addie asked, "Do you ever think she misses me?" I said, "I think she's haunted by you." She was quiet a long time. "Good." Then, softer, "Is that bad?" "No," I said. "It's human." A year later, on her 18th birthday, Addie opened her gifts, a set of paints, a necklace, and one more thing, the note. The same note that was pinned to her jacket. She read it once. Twice. Then folded it neatly and handed it back. "Keep it," I said. "I don't need it anymore." She walked to the door, picked up that old purple suitcase from where it still sat, dusted it off, and smiled. "I think I'll use this for college." "Still got some stickers left," I said. "Yeah," she said, like memories, ugly, but stuck on tight. When she moved into her dorm that fall, I cried like a fool in the parking lot. She rolled her eyes. "Mimi, you're embarrassing me." "Good," I said. "That's my job." Long time. My daughter disappeared again after those last phone calls, no address, no word. I checked obituaries a few times, I'll admit it, half hoping and half dreading to see her name. She hugged me hard. "You know you saved me, right?" I kissed her forehead. "Honey, you saved me first." I still live in the same house. Same porch, same creaky boards, same coffee mug with the chip in the handle. Life slowed down, but the mornings haven't changed much. I wake up before the sun, feed the dog, make my coffee, and sit on that porch that's seen more stories than some libraries. The purple suitcase still sits by the door. It's faded now, the princess stickers almost gone, one handle frayed beyond repair. I tried to move it once, dust around it, maybe tuck it away in the closet, but Addie stopped me before leaving for college. "Leave it there," she said. "It's kind of our beginning." And she's right. That little suitcase was the start of everything. Of who she became, and who I became after her. Before that morning, I was just existing, a widow with arthritis and opinions, waiting out the rest of my years in quiet peace. Then she showed up and turned my quiet into something loud, messy, and completely worth it. Addie's 21 now, a social work major. She says she wants to help kids who get left on porches. Every time she says it, I get choked up, which annoys me because I swore I'd never turn into one of those sentimental old women who cries at Hallmark commercials. But that's what she does to me. She reminds me there's good left in the world, no matter how broken it looks sometimes. She calls every night. Mimi, did you eat? Mimi, don't forget your meds. Sometimes she sends me memes I don't understand but laugh at anyway because she does. I told her she's bossy. She said I learned from the best. She's not wrong. A few months back, she asked if I ever heard from her mother again. I told her the truth, not for a long time. My daughter disappeared again after those last phone calls, no address, no word. I checked obituaries a few times, I'll admit it, half hoping and half dreading to see her name. Nothing. Maybe she's alive somewhere, clean and working on herself. Maybe she's gone. I've made my peace with not knowing. Addie's made her peace too. If she ever comes back, she told me, I'll listen. But she doesn't get to rewrite the story. That's my girl, soft heart, steel spine. Stubborn as a nail in an old porch. Sometimes I sit out here and think about that morning. About how I almost didn't open the door right away because I thought I'd spill my coffee. About how different life would have been if I'd hesitated a few seconds longer. I don't believe in fate much. I'm too practical for that, but I do believe in timing. The right people show up when you need them most, even if they don't knock very loud. Addie was 6 when she landed on my porch, clutching that suitcase like it held her whole life. She's 21 now, ready to build a new one. She's proof that family isn't about who leaves you, it's about who stays. Last Christmas, she came home for break. We sat on the porch wrapped in blankets, watching the snow fall. She handed me a small box. Inside was a tiny silver charm shaped like a suitcase. On the bottom, engraved in her messy handwriting, were 3 words. You opened the door. I didn't cry right away. Took a sip of cocoa, cleared my throat, and said, "You're just trying to make me sentimental, so I'll forget you dented my car." She laughed so hard she snorted. Later that night, after she'd gone to bed, I held that little charm in my hand and let myself cry. Not out of sadness, out of gratitude. For the chaos, the laughter, the stubbornness, and for that one freezing morning when everything I thought was lost found its way back to me. 15 years ago, I opened my front door and found a scared little girl asleep on my porch with a note pinned to her jacket. The note said, "Please take care of her." I did. But somewhere along the way, she took care of me too.